Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. This is Agil Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny, and if you want to get formal as Miss Jennifer Frederick, another edition of Love Talk the Ting. People, sorry to be late. My tablet was giving trouble, so I have to switch to my cell phone. Then I have to take all the messages off my, and all the things I will talk about today from my phone. Excuse me. Put it on another phone and then unhook. Listen, it was a mess, but you know what? Your girl here. So we start the thing right today. It's Friday, the end of another week. Time and tide waits on no one. I hope you all are hearing me clearly. I really do. Because this is what we had today. I just make it work. So we start the thing right. Tell me if all you're hearing proper, yeah? So as I was saying, I'm using a new device. Tell me if you all hear me. Other than the music, you all hear me loud and clear? Cheryl, I say loud and clear. We hear you loud and clear. Looking nice. Great. Lovely thing. We starting right one time. I might be able to see all the name proper on this small phone with my glasses. So Sarah, Gabri, Emmeline, Caroline. I know I see my girl Roxanne. I can't remember. Oh, Christopher, I think. Only forgive me, the writing Sarah, the writing small on the side, yes, Christopher Coffee, Gloria, Tessa, keep the name rolling, Anne-Marie. If you see my bending now looking because in my phone I'm looking from, yes, Cha. Yeah, thank you all for staying truly locked in as usual. Today's Friday. I love the colors. I try something, girl. Today's Friday, the week. The time and tide is just going, it waits on no one, and we have things to do here also. Hi Diana, hi Jonathan, like the names come. Hi Cynthia, hi Donna. We start a little late, but you know, there are nothing. Today's Friday, Jesus wept. I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I'll honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, my elders, and those in authority. I'll be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. And I'll strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country. People, we are a real thing to talk. It ain't hard time to waste at all. So, just know, let me find which part I send this to somebody's phone. And then oh God, all you ever see back and I'll give me a minute, When you're using a device that is not yours, you know, it'll be strange. So I have to get to the story I want. And it had to do with a baby that was missing. Hi Michelle, hi Melina, Patricia, hello. The family getting real big. Let me talk the thing, family getting real big. So I saw this as good news. A baby boy, this was in Luke News. This was when it was updated 3 hours ago. Again, you know the time difference. A baby boy, a baby boy was reported missing in the early hours of Thursday morning, has been safely recovered following coordinated efforts by police officers attached to various units of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, including Port of Spain Criminal Investigation Department and the Tobago Division. The child, an 11-month-old Lorenzo Mason, was discovered missing by his 21-year-old mother of Eastern Corey Laventil around 5:45 a.m. on May the 15th. She reported that she had retired to bed with her son around 11 p.m. the previous night At approximately 1 a.m., she awoke to breastfeed him and then returned to sleep. Upon waking later that morning, she found that her son was no longer lying beside her. At the time of her disappearance, he was last seen wearing a white vest with a giraffe print and a disposable diaper. She immediately notified the police, and the Besson Street Police responded to the report, and an investigation was conducted by CPL, like police constable, is it? I'm not sure. Ramota and members of the Crime Scene Investigations Unit. A comprehensive search of the premises and surrounding areas was conducted, including the deployment of the K9 unit, but no items of evidential value were found. Acting on intelligence obtained through Crime Stoppers and with assistance from the Superintendent Ali of the Port Authority Police, investigators received credible information indicating that a female suspect had traveled to Tobago via the Port of Spain ferry terminal with a baby around 6 a.m. on May 15th. The female suspect, aged 29, of Ready Mix Road, Eastern Quarry, Laventille, was subsequently detained by police officers of the Port of Spain CID at the Beston Street Police Station. Further investigation led to a coordinated effort between officers of the Tobago Division and the Port of Spain CID under the supervision of ACP Sobero and Senior Superintendent Ellie. A second suspect, a 39-year-old male of Phase 5 Beetham Gardens and Tank Road, Signal Hill, Tobago, was arrested around 7:30 p.m. on the same day. During this exercise, baby Lorenzo Mason was found and recovered safely. Police confirmed that the child was in good health at the time of recovery. The operation was spearheaded by Senior Superintendent Tom, Superintendent Nicholas, ASP Sudin, Inspector Drugar, Sergeant Bagwandin, Sergeant Maslia, Police Constable Lancaster, Police Constable Felix, Police Constable Molino, and a team from Port of Spain Criminal Investigation Department. Investigation are being led by Police Constable PCL Felix. Listen to me now. I like that. All you hear how much police and agencies get involved in this thing. Oh God, the police working. They're working. I love that. And they found the child safe. I hope they carry the child to medically examine. Because watching the child and see the child in good health, you're not medical professionals unless somebody's a medical person there. So I hope the child was taken to the hospital and looked after. That is good work. Congratulations to the police service and all the coordinated, and to that mother who would think quickly, get to the police station, and the police acting very, quickly on this thing, because of the port, somebody seated. Listen, that's what I like to hear. That's what we like to hear. Well done. Well done to the police, all the police officers who took part in that operation. That was a big operation. Thank you, Father. So, I see double-digit growth in car land loans. Let me see what this is about, because that is nice. If I ain't find this, because I tell all you already, it's that different phone I'm using, and I don't start to feel frustrated just now. Oi. What is oi? Oh, give me a minute. Oh, right. Hi, Lestra. Hi, Troy. Once all you hear me good, I don't mind. The whole thing looking weird to me, but we have to learn to adapt to change. We have to learn to adapt to change, because these times are changing quickly, and if you're not hip with the technology and you're not hip with things, you will get left behind. Hi, Miss Yvette. So I'm seeing this was yesterday in the Guardian. Central Bank, double-digit growth in cars and land loans. So people are borrowing more from the banks. According to Central Bank Annual Economic Survey 2024, which was released 2 weeks ago, 2024 saw a surge in banks lending to customers. How does borrow money from the bank? Can't you have money? And you have to be working to have money? The report says the pace of consumer lending sped up in 2024, supported by attractive financing terms. Customer lending ended 2024 in double digits, 12.1% year on, up from 8.8% in December 2023. In the fourth quarter of 2024, the value and volume of customer loans exceeded that of 2023, recorded increases of 11.9% and 5.5% respectively. The main reason for the loans, according to the survey, was for the purchase of cars, real estate, and servicing debts. The report stated notable year-on increases were recorded in loans for car vehicles, 15.2%, consolidated debts of 11.2%, refinancing 10.5%, land and real estate 20.3%. People real buying land, boy, and property, boy, and other purchases 15.4%, which includes credit debt cards 11.2% in December 2024. The increase in returns from loan segments was recognized by the banking sector. 3 of the country's banks noted recently that loan growth contributed significantly to impressive financial performances in recent fiscal reports. You had to have money. To have the money, you had to be working. So car selling, real estate, people refinancing the loan and thing. I commented something, you know. One more paragraph and I go on, because me no economist. On May the 2nd, Vincent Pereira, chairman of the Republic Financial Holdings Limited, RFHL, said as much while announcing the group recorded profits attributable to equity holders of 1.01 billion for the period March ending the 31st, 2025. The financial return represented an increase of 1.1% when compared to the prior period, Pereira said. He said growth for the period was bolstered up by the group's robust loan growth and prudent cost management. The First Citizen Group financial report released on May 7th, Group Chairman Anthony Smart also stated that the group loan portfolio contributed significantly to recording profits after tax for the 6-month period ending March 31st, 2025. $444.9 million of this performance was said to be an increase by 2.1% over the bank's performance in 2024 at the same time. Smart said the increase over the 6-month period was underpinned by the growth of approximately $1.5 billion in loan portfolio. Look, let me see what Scotia say. At Scotiabank 55th annual meeting of shareholders in March, the bank chief financial officer, Rashad Mohammed, stated that for bank performance in 2024, net interest income increased by 90 million or 7%, driven by growth in our loan portfolio as well as improved net interest margin. This is the highest level of net interest income ever attained by our bank. All you hear that? Scotiabank Chairman Derek Hudson also said at the meeting for the year that the group recorded total revenue of $1.95 billion, an increase of $67 million or 4% over the prior year, driven mainly by growth in net interest income of $90 million or 7%. This increase was achieved through continued strong expansion in loans balances in both retail and commercial segments. Oh God, I ain't reading no more. You know why? They want to tell me this economy falling apart. Like they want to set the stage to ball, they have to go IMF. All them banks making money. It ain't making it from foreigners, it ain't making it from aliens, it's making it from people in Trinidad and Tobago. All the banks are them. This bank said first time they ever get so much profits. It's loans for cars, buying property, and refinancing. Where people get money from? You have to be working, because you can't work in the bank and not working and get money. So I think that how the same thing's hard and it's bad. Something ain't right. It's either the bank lying, and you know the bank don't lie when it comes to money, because them love money. All you go April the 28th, and some only went on FA. And now only FO. Only know what I mean, that the new slang, eh? Only went around, and now only go out. Okay. Let me continue. Yes, Papa. All that money get me excited. I go in and see the giving a loan dress so. Because me have no big money, not I go into the bank dress so and say, listen, I see only making real money and profit, lend me something. Or they can afford to lend me something. I also seen, well, the amount of people had to pay Ember, former Minister of Finance, for the mouth and what they say about he. Listen to me now, he about to work again in life. I seen somebody had to pay he. Oh boy, this thing's stressful to be scrolling. I'll give me a minute. Me? Hey! Today we might go a little long because it has some things I had to say. Jesus wept. Jesus wept. Well, you know that the shortest sentence in English language, right? It have verbs and it have noun. It have everything it takes to make a sentence. It have a verb, it have a noun. That makes up. You see this thing? Listen to me now, audio. My finger tired scroll. Just now, I go find it, you know. Oh, Jesus. What this thing is. Right. Excuse me. Hi, Constance. Hi, Bernadine. Hi, Jonathan. That's how Trini catch. Yes, they're catching the nenen. Constance still the bank making billions of dollars and them catching the nenen. And people going to buy car, going to buy property, real estate and all kind of thing. And refinancing the loan. All you let the UNC and them getting all their head, but we suffering. And they do that for 5 years. Say we suffering. And all they went, and all they F are wrong, and all they going to find out. All they take chain up. All they take chain up with a jingle. When UNC win, everybody wins. And with a slang. Yellow is the code. This was in the Guardian yesterday. It said former central bank governor Jawala Rambaran has been ordered to pay over $100,000 in compensation to former finance minister Col Ember for defamation. Delivering a judgment via email on Monday, High Court Judge Kevin Ramcharan upheld Ember's claim and ordered the compensation. Guardian Media understands that Ember may have to wait a while because he potentially received the damages. Before he potentially received the damages ordered, as Ramcharan is expected to appeal the outcome. The lawsuit centered around a blog post on Rambaran's personal website on June 9, 2019. While the contents of the post cannot be repeated, as such was deemed to be defamatory, it included accusation that Ember stymied Ramcharan's job prospects after he was terminated from his role in the central bank in December. Right? So, we ain't going into all that. He had to pay, but I know he must have, I say he must have money because he didn't just win money and all kind of thing for them terminating the contract before time in the central bank and all that. So them go walk out there says monies. I'm not in that. But I am saying former Minister of Finance, he seemed to have the recipe how to win them in court for defamation of character because the amount of money people have to pay he. Okay, I'll leave it there. So let me continue. I see in Guyana, listen to me now. Guyana let me play this. There's a gentleman I like to listen to called Mr. Glenn Lal. He really fights for Guyana and what is right. I haven't seen nobody lock him up or I haven't seen that, so I have to assume that what he is saying can be verified. So let me play it. Go on Mr. Glenn Lal. So let's listen to this, Papa. The Guyana who they want me to run up in and all kind of thing, right?
We have foreigners put in Guyana, Venezuela, and all its citizens in danger. Look what is going on now. President Ali just announced that Guyana is increasing defense spending. Yes, using up the crumbs we are receiving from our gold, oil, sugar, and rice to beef up security against the threat from Venezuela. Money we so desperately need to fix our collapsing health sector, crumbling schools, unstable electricity, dirty drinking water, broken roads, and poor salaries, to feed a starving nation that is crying out for help. Now, preparing to fight with a neighbor who, for generations, stood by our side throughout thick and thin. That same Venezuela, for decades, opened its doors and welcomed tens of thousands of Guyanese who fled there looking for a better life. Let me also remind you, when the world turned its back on us and the region, it was Venezuela who stepped up and gave us fuel at a reduced price. They even allowed Guyana to use that money to develop our country and pay later. Now tell me, is that the behavior of an enemy or a friend? Yes. We are currently at the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, trying to resolve the long-standing issue of the Essequibo region. But even though that case has been in court for years, both countries have lived in peace and harmony. No war, no violence. So why are we beefing up our security for war and not working towards peace? Look, President Maduro came out publicly and said recently he is willing to meet with President Ali, sit down face to face, man to man, leader to leader, and talk. But instead of President Ali welcoming this dialogue, he is refusing to meet, rushing full speed ahead, spending the little oil money, borrowing more, putting Guyana deeper into debt to buy weapons, preparing to defend Guyana. Defend Guyana for who? You know, we have seen this script, this movie, played out all over the world, over and over, especially in third world countries, rich in gold, diamonds, and oil. Let me tell you how that movie starts and how it ends. The foreign powers or foreign companies arrived smiling and pretend to be friends. First, they create confusion and division among the people within the country. If that doesn't work, they stir up conflict between neighbors. And while the two nations are busy fighting, killing each other over borders and politics, these troublemakers, these well-dressed looters, quietly stripping the country, yes, with the people gold, diamonds, oil, and other rich minerals gone, while the people bleed. Mr. President, this is a very dangerous trap being set for both Guyana and Venezuela. And I am pleading with you, sir, on behalf of every Guyanese, please don't fall for it. Don't let them sell you the match to light a fire between two loving neighbors who have lived in peace for generations. Sit down with President Maduro and talk. Let the dust settle between us once and for all, because when the foreigners are finished, when they empty our lands, drain our seas, and vanish with our wealth, Guyana and Venezuela will still be neighbors. Please, Mr. President, let us not create two nations filled with hungry neighbors, staring at each other across a line drawn by foreigners, looters. We were blessed with more than enough, my friend, enough to feed our people and rise together in unity, not fall apart in fear. Let us not fall for the lies and division anymore, please. Let us not be tricked into fighting while our wealth is being packed up and shipped out behind our backs. It's time to rise above this trap. It's time to become the kind of people worthy of the riches buried beneath our feet and flowing through our seas. This is a message from Glenn Lal, a proud Guyanese. Please share it.
I want to thank Ms. Bernadine Andel, one of we papers. I took it from her page. So I want to thank you. It's important we know what's happening in other countries because remember, the Honorable Prime Minister has mandated basically the new Minister of Energy, Dr. Rila Munilal, to, I think it's immediately, it's not immediately, but to go to Guyana, Suriname, and Grenada to look for gas. And then we heard President Jacques Diro, that's his title, I think, saying that the gas them have is for them alone. They may have no gas and whatever. And then I see the Honorable Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar speaking about Forex. She's going to expose the Forex cartel. But when I see that, I remember seeing this. This is from Guyana again. I say, this song is, listen to this.
The Trinidadian demand. So this is happening through several places, and we're looking at this now. You know, in Trinidad, it's practically impossible to get foreign currency in that market. People don't write about that, but in the Trinidad, businessmen have to wait for ages, 6 months, 8 months, etc. They cannot get foreign currency in that market. You should examine what's going on. So we have, over the last few years, we have witnessed a phenomenon here where we believe that some of the invoices submitted by companies are inflated because they're local companies, but inflated invoices so that when the payment goes to their suppliers, it's for goods that would go into Trinidad and Tobago. Secondly, some of the cambios and banks, to a lesser extent the banks, are now selling the currency to Trinidadians who come here, foreign currency, to them, because they come here to get the foreign currency. And then thirdly, you have some local companies now that are capitalizing on the arbitrage. So they buy from the banks and the cambios at maybe 216 or so, and they're selling to the Trinidadians at 220, 224. They're making money now on the side. So we have a big additional demand now, apart from the growth generally of the economy and the increase in consumer goods, intermediate goods, capital goods import to $9 billion now. We also have this new demand. So we are, when it takes 2 weeks to get foreign currency here, you check what happens in another country, just neighboring, you will see what is really going on. But we...
Right? So who it is the Prime Minister is going to expose? Because it seemed that this gentleman here, Barajagdio, he speak about business and goods. You remember they say we African people do not own business. We don't have nothing. Them alone have everything, them say. So who it is the Honorable Prime Minister is going to investigate? This is getting curiosity and curiosity. I know that's not the word, leave me alone, let me talk the thing. It is getting more curious and curious. This is song and right. And then again, they like to tell us how we suffering and it hard in Trinidad. Blah, blah, blah. And when you listen to what's happening in Guyana, you heard Mr. Glenn say the health system is collapsing. This is collapsing, that is collapsing, that is collapsing. So where the money is going, I don't know. But they keep telling us we, in this country, things so hard, it's so bad. And I'll go back to where I read just now. All them bank making money. Where they make any money from? Who bring any money? Who it is borrowing? All you listener, all you just sit down and think carefully when all you listen to all the information. Just listen to one side. When UNC win, everybody wins, and the code is yellow. And all what they're telling all of that all over Facebook, you can't see them now. I thought they would have been there now to say, well, yes, they win, and you're not seeing them. So is it they realize it was a scam? I'm just asking. Is it that they realize it was a scam? Because the maths not really mathsing. UNC maths don't ever really maths. That's the opinion I'm giving. Alright, let me continue, Papa. So as I say, the godly Prime Minister, she's going to expose the Forex cartel. I hope it don't come back and embarrass her. You know, there's a metaphorical thing they say. Figuratively, I'm speaking it. They just say, come and blow back up in your face. Let me see. So let me continue. So earlier, Jamaica. Why I mentioned Jamaica? Jamaica is a part of CARICOM, and that is we trading partner. In fact, all we manufactured goods, large percentage in Jamaica, does buy it. We don't buy much from Jamaica. We just buy little thing. But all we goods from the manufacturing sector, because we goods good, you know, we go away like that, you know. Jamaica does buy it, billions of dollars in goods. So when I see anything with Jamaica, you know, I just get kind of jumpy because, listen, the last time this Prime Minister, when she was Prime Minister back then, go on and talk about her time and talk about, oh, it's not an ATM machine, and Jamaica say, who you think you're talking to? And they was pulling we goods off their shelf, and when Dr. Rowley and the PNM came in, they had to go and speed up to Jamaica and deal with that in a diplomatic way, because listen, that money will have lost income. That is GNP, gross national product. That the goods that sell outside the money we get, because what they make here and sell here is called gross domestic product, GDP. I know economists, but I just know a little something I kind of segue myself, right? So bacchanal. So there's an artist, just call him the world boss, Vybz Kartel, was incarcerated for quite a while on some murder or something like that. To be honest, I don't really listen to Vybz Kartel music. All them young people say it on it, good, it ting. I trust them with that. Me age is not for Vybz Kartel, right? Me age, I come from the era A Lady Saw and the era Super Cat and Shaggy and them fellas and them, right? Me era is not Vybz Kartel and them fellas and them. So them young people say, Igoroi, call them world boss. So as I say, he spent some time incarcerated. He was freed recently because of whatever reason. So he has a concert in this country. And bam! You're hearing the new Minister of Defense come out and say they will be monitoring Vybz Kartel. So I was like, but what the hell is this? Monitoring? I say, okay. So this is what the Minister of Defense had to say. And who is our Minister of Defense? It is Minister Wayne Surge SC. Because he's a criminal lawyer, I think. And yeah, he good way. So this is what he had to say.
We are not fearful of any backlash. That's the first thing. Several of our neighbors have the very same legislative provisions which their respective ministers have exercised in some instances to refuse entry to Trinidadian artists. So there's no backlash because it's a discretion that has to be exercised in this instance, not only in the best interests of the country as a whole, but more particularly, one has to have regard to the interest of children, having regard to our treaty obligations under the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which we've incorporated into our laws, and having regard to the material that is contained in some of the songs. So the protection of the children must be paramount.
And Vibes Cartel has come out publicly and stated that he is reformed and that his tours and his talks with the young population now is about reform and, of course, not leading that type of life anymore. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't expect him to say that he's not reformed, but he has his own agenda. I also don't wish to say that I don't believe him, but we have to act on the basis of evidence. Mr. Cartel, before his conviction was overturned, made several attempts to be freed on the basis of ill health, stating that he was close to death's door, and if he was not released, he would die in prison. The moment he was released, he made a miraculous recovery. But one of the things one has to take into account is this, and I am mindful of the fact that he is saying he wants to speak with the youth to have them stay away from a life of crime and so on. But his conviction was not overturned on the merits. It was overturned on the basis of juror misconduct, so that the credibility and reliability of the evidence led against him at trial was not in any way undermined. And the Jamaican Court of Appeal, who decided not to order a retrial, did so on public policy considerations, and their decision in no way affected the creditworthiness or reliability of the evidence led at trial. So it would be wrong, in my view, having regard to my remit, and we've not made a decision just yet. What exists now is a draft order, which is a working document, and we have not met with all of the stakeholders. We still have to meet with the SIU, and there are legal opinions that were sought that would have to be taken in the round before we come to a decision. But what we must not do is give the impression that we are giving legitimacy to someone who only recently was released from death row for murder and whose conviction was not overturned on the merits.
Okay, and finally, has anyone from the Jamaican government reached out to you since that order or since you have made that statement?
I have not had any sort of information from, I believe it should come through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and I have not been told so.
Okay. Next, Susan, me drink a sip of water. A couple of things stood out to me, right? The Minister Wayne Surge, as I said, he's a criminal lawyer. This is an opinion I'm giving. I think when he went on to speak about the dynamics of the case with Vibes Cartel, I ain't picking up for nobody, with Vibes Cartel, and that what would have happened to him for his case to be thrown out and blah, blah, blah. Kind of, in my opinion, I think he's saying that he really win the case because he innocent or he guilty. It happened because of something. And I think that the Honorable Minister should not have gone there. Because as a criminal lawyer, I wonder how many cases he may have had like that, where his client may not have been found guilty or innocent because of whatever circumstances and case thrown or because some technicality, whatever. How much times he may have used technicalities, excuse me, to deal with his client's issues. I just put that there. And then another thing he spoke about, having this individual who was recently on death row going to talk to children. I hear that. That's a valid concern. I hear that. But I want to ask, she doesn't have valid concern with Annie Roberts. No, Annie Roberts did not do anything like what Vybz Kartel was accused of doing. But in terms of being seen drunk all over the place, yes, we saw him for Carnival. Nobody can say he wasn't drunk. We have it there, excuse me, and he has never said it's not him. And the state of his drunkenness, in my opinion, having been around persons, family members who were alcoholics, that is not, you just drink just and get drunk. That seems to be a continuous thing drunk. That drunk can look like you just get drunk just so, you might just drink a little too much for the day. No, that look like it's some kind of alcoholic something. That is my opinion, right? Excuse me. But he's around children. He's teaching. Yes, he is one of the best swim coach. You can't take that from him. However, look at his behavior and conduct. With the Douglas politics and call who pump this thing and how he does be carrying on. But he's allowed to be around children because he teaches swimming. And just recently I saw children went into the parliament and he was up there with them and whatever. So there's no problem with that. And, excuse me, another member of the cabinet in this government has been accused, is alleged to be involved, not me. If you look at what Dr. Deva Maharaj would have said, it alluded to that, involved in human trafficking, but he is there. There's no, excuse me, I guess people would say there have been no charges or anything. I hear that, but I'm just saying, when you're thinking in terms of what Minister Wayne Serger said, I'm not taking away from the gravity of the situation. I'm just saying that it is interesting. And recently we also had David Lee. And all this stuff putting DR in front of my name, please, he's not no doctor. David Lee, who was on $1 million bail for some car thing and the case was dropped or whatever, and then the DPP say they're going to look back into it and something. So I'm just saying, but let me continue. Them in charge now, and them will do what they think is best for this country. So he said that, and then Gary Griffith jump out and say this. Excuse me.
As Commissioner of Police, there was a situation with Buju Banton when I had to do serious damage control when the police entered his hotel, and it was embarrassing. And to avoid any type of confrontation or bad blood between Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, I immediately had to go there to meet Buju Banton, actually go on the stage, in fact, and try to calm everything down. So in this situation, as I said, the Minister of Defense, he has that authority based on information that would come to him. However, this is a very delicate situation. Vybz Kartel is a virtual folk hero in Jamaica. The last thing we want is for some degree of confrontation and bad blood between Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. We have seen this before, where certain countries will now start to, they have stated that they will stop importing certain items from other countries. We had this several occasions before. So this is a very delicate situation. It must not be seen in any way that we must use that solely as an avenue just to turn a blind eye. But we have to look at the pros and cons of this situation. But as I said, it is a very delicate situation. And at times, especially our CARICOM neighbors, they can very well be offended when actions like this take place, even though it may very well be in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago. So sometimes you have to balance it and decide what is the best decision made to ensure that it does not affect our relationships and our trade with our CARICOM neighbors, whilst at the same time making sure that we do what is right in the best interest of Trinidad and Tobago.
I'm going to excuse me, just clean. Also, I want to ask the Honorable Minister of Defense, a couple years ago, year before, whatever, wasn't the Honorable Prime Minister, no, wasn't she bigging up Trinidad music and glorifying that music and say that is how the youths, that is their thing, I'm paraphrasing, that's their thing and that's how they roll, you know? And she was talking about load up the matic, crack it back, chuck it back, and that was a big thing, and talking about Prince Swami and this and that. So I find it kind of strange that there's this big concern about what the young people are listening to, and if somebody like Vice Cartel were to come in the space to talk to them, that could create, I don't know, because Kamala Prasad, says to the Prime Minister now, has said a lot of stuff, a lot of things. People said a lot of things about the people who right there wrong, huh? Roger and they would have said a lot of things, corruption and this and that, whatever. And she's around meeting with Chira and the people, hugging the love she Auntie Pam. So, anywho's, who am I? So, after all that, I saw that Vice Cartel came out and said this. So, apparently, I hope they fix this whole matter. Because you don't want a situation where Trinidad artists going across there now and it's like, it's whoever. And then, you know, something came to my mind. Just a minute. I said, I wonder if this stemming from the Doubles situation. Or remember the Doubles situation? Was it Beanie Man who spoke about the Doubles? You know, remember, Doubles is treasure in this country. You can't talk about Doubles. So I wonder, say, if this is a spin-off from the Doubles situation. Just for a minute, not even a minute, about 2 seconds, I said, I wonder. And then I said, Trinidad will never go there. We will never do those things, yeah? So then listen to Vice Cartel. He has...
Yeah, people, this is Vibes Cartel, as you know. And since recently, I've been seeing a lot of things in the media as it relates to Vibes Cartel performing in Trinidad. There is no problem with Vibes Cartel performing in Trinidad. You know what I mean? The necessary permits are granted. The problem lies in where the promoter took it upon himself and tried to fill Vibes Cartel itinerary with things that had nothing to do with Vibes Cartel performance. And rightfully so, the defense minister pulled the plug on that part of the itinerary. And there's no problem there because Vibes Cartel represent the Trinidad, they represent the Jamaica. As a matter of fact, they represent for the entire Caribbean. And my job is to come perform for the people of Trinidad. And I miss performing because I haven't seen you guys in over 15 years. So, big up to the outgoing government. Congratulations to the new government. Jaco, I've known you for years. Do better, sir. But guess what now? See you the 31st. We're alive, could be worse. One Trinidad.
So, we hope that has worked out. So let me continue. So Arrive Alive had something to say concerning the scrapping of the demerit point system. Because you know they are the ones that talk a lot about road carnage and all that. And then you see people real buying cars now and so cars selling and all that, and there's no demerit points, nothing. People just driving, doing what they want, however they want, because there's no penalty to it unless you get an accident or something like that. The demerit points, I think it had to do more with a lot of, if you get these points, you'll be more conscious, you'll try your best not to, because coming out of that, you could lose a license, you could be suspended for a while and all that. No, you don't have all them things, you could just do what you want, you could get away with it once they catch you. That's just how I interpret this whole damn thing, right? So, planned demerit point scrapping is slap in the face, and this was May the 15th in one of our dailies, Trinidad Express, and it says here, I hope it's not overly long because I'm not going to read, right? More driving under the influence, DUI offenders are court mandated to participate in Arrive Alive rehabilitation course than those who partook under the demerit point system, according to its president, Sharon Ingerfield. And she says here, calling the system potential scrapping, A slap in the face to families affected by road fatalities, Engerfield yesterday told the Express that despite an abundance of social media backlash, the non-governmental organization remained committed in its efforts to promote road safety throughout the country. Last Thursday, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar announced plans to scrap the system, which came into effect in 2020. Following the announcement, Engerfield called for collaboration to improve the system rather than scrapping it. She told the Express that a letter to the Prime Minister had been sent by the organization last week, and letters to the ministers were to be delivered on Monday. But following her call, she acknowledged that the organization had received a wave of criticism from some who alleged that the NGO opposed the system being halted due to its own participation via the rehabilitative courses it offered. Under the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Amendment Act 2017, a person disqualified from holding or obtaining a permit could re-qualify if they participate in a driving rehabilitation program approved by the licensing authority, pass the driving test, and pay requisite reinstatement fees. Arrive Alive is only one provider of such course, a course of approximately $1,300. Last year, Engerfield told the Express that the fee goes directly into the group's running course, which includes funding its many educational initiatives and paying its staff. On Monday, she reiterated that neither she nor the organization directors, who are its owners, receive any payment from Arrive Alive, and asked if she believed the system halt would significantly affect the NGO's operation. She said that most of its course participants were DUI offenders. The magistrate courts, a number of the magistrates believe in us. A number of the DUI offenders come to us as well for rehabilitation and to change the mindset of drinking and driving or impairment and driving. We all work together with Alcohol Anonymous to try to rehabilitate people who are drinking or taking drugs and driving to avoid further fatal crashes on our roads. So they had to say, we go see where that will go. But this government is bent on being a populist government. Yeah, and with that comes its unique challenges. So let me continue. I saw that Larry Lala SC would have written something. Let me take a little peep now, because we want to hear what everybody's saying now, Papa? Because sometimes you have to get your popcorn. You have to get your popcorn, and if you don't drink a little soft drink, I don't drink soft drink, so it might be popcorn and water, or popcorn and some Moby or some kind of thing, right? So, Larry Lala SC, it says him, I'm seeing his picture, so I hope it's him. For the love of Trinidad and Tobago, it says, the Prime Minister's statement at yesterday's post-cabinet presser that A, she was against the property tax in its present form, and B, refunds. You have to talk to Tanku. Let Tanku tell you where you get any money for refunds. Raise a number of concerns. Firstly, there is another form of property tax that the PM proposes to introduce. If so, that goes against the UNC campaign promise to the population that there will be no new property taxes as shown below. Secondly, the Prime Minister must appreciate that the population normally does not treat the public statement of a government minister as loose as rum shop talk. And when Finance Minister Tanku told the population 2 weeks ago that accompanying the scrapping of the property tax, refunds will be paid, thousands or even hundreds of thousands of taxpayers breathed a sigh of relief in the expectation that they would be paid a refund of the tax that they had paid. Is the PM saying that going forward for the population should, upon given an assurance by one of her ministers, first ask whether she had given the minister permission to say what he's saying? Further, is it that the PM idea of fairness? Is this the PM idea of fairness? Where law-abiding citizens who, out of a sense of duty, patriotism, or even fear, pay their tax, are now be penalized and treated differently from those who did not pay? Is it that she, having previously told the population while in opposition that they should not pay the property tax, is now bent on penalizing those who went ahead and paid? On another note, if a government is unable to find the money to refund citizens who paid the tax, where, pray tell, are they going to find the money to fulfill all the other financial campaign promises, including the salary increase starting at 10% for public servants? Is it that when UNC wins, everybody wins, except those who previously paid their property tax? I suspect that going forward, the list of those who won't win under this government would increase. For now, it appears that the first people who have lost those unfortunate souls is who paid their taxes. I hope I am wrong. P.S. The Prime Minister really shouldn't refer to her Minister of Finance publicly and in a post-cabinet meeting as Tanku, but rather Minister Tanku. She must remember that she's now running a country and not just running her party. So, let me tell you how the thing go. So, Papa, let me find it quick. Tanku come out and say, just now, let me find the thing. Tanku come out and say that all who pay all the tax will get it back. And then Papa, what do you think? Right, listen to this back and all here. So Tanku will say, all who pay the property tax are going to get it back. Listen to this back and all here in the presser.
The law in place to repeal it. We have always been against the property tax in this present form, and we are taking steps to repeal the property tax. And refunds, so you are talking to Tanku. I think the only person mentioned refunds, I have never said that. Let Tanku tell me where he's finding the money for refunds. He's a Minister of Finance. The law in place to repeal it. We have...
Right, and as Senior Counsel Lala say, it sounds very unprofessional for the Prime Minister to be bullying Tanku, tell or whatever. But worse than that is what Mr. Lala S.C. say. He's correct. So they're punishing the people who pay the property tax. Because other people ain't going to pay them on, and them who happy whatever. So them who pay the tax and now they repeal, why they mustn't get back their money? Give back the people the money? Because all they find is so harsh and oppressive. So you're punishing them for paying? He has a point there. Not only that. Oh, you know, I lost my train of thought there. I must see that just I was saying, the fact that as Mr. Lala is saying truth. It could be looked as a punishment. So, I want to ask, so could those people who pay the property tax, seeing that the minister said they will get back the refund, could they take the government to court? I'm just asking a question, I'm asking a question. This thing's getting more interesting since I have to make up words, because you have words to describe what's going on here, Alright. So I'm also seeing that it already started. Somebody, somewhere, some workers, somewhere, whatever the case may be, send letter, reaction protocol letter. All here. Let me get it. Lala SC, ting. Give me a minute, all here. I feel as I don't. Right, let's hear what Tanku they say. Is that I wanted all to see? Hear what Tanku say?
Pay property taxes, what happens then?
More of that as the time comes forward. I think it would have been inappropriate for a person to have been paid and penalized by having been paid, having done their duty according to law, and then being penalized if the law is removed. So more on that coming back. I think it's logical that those persons will have to be refunded.
Pay property taxes, what happens?
So they're punishing the people. You say it oppress, well, it is only fair or logical that they get back their money, and your Prime Minister now saying, is you alone talk that money? Tell me where you get any money from. I find it very unfair. But when UNC wins, that's what they say, everybody wins. Well, the people who pay the property tax, them certainly win. So as I was saying, somebody, me trying to be funny, honestly. I don't find it funny at all, but that is what all they vote for. All they went on FA and now all they go FO. So I am seeing here, I get it from News Source Space. The NCC is comprised of 5 government-appointed directors and 3 directors from stakeholders, interest board, namely TUCO, TTCBA, and Pantrinbago. The persons who are not at the helm of those three entities automatically become directors on the NCC board as per rule. Madam Minister, and that is Michelle Benjamin, the one who said take the something put between who leg, and they love them thing. Our country love that type of conversation. Madam Minister sent a hot letter to the three entities telling them to choose new people other than their head of organization to sit on the board. And when you suspect she's here, she said at least 2 people sent pre-action protocol letter. So this is one letter here, name blackout, the 13th of May 2025. This person said reconstitution of the National Carnival Committee and nomination of a new representative. I am writing to inform you that the National Carnival Commission is currently undergoing a process of reconstitution as part of a broader initiative by the Ministry of Culture and Community Development to ensure continued alignment with current governance and strategic priorities. And then the block out all the people and everything. We kindly request that your organization nominate, that is she write that, It looking like a she write that. So based on that letter, Papa, reaction protocols like a jump out. So you go see how that go. When UNC win, what they say? Hey! All you get fooled with a jingle like KFC, Roland Castle. I feeling shame. I feeling shame for some of it. A jingle to buy all of it. A jingle and a slang. PNM could have never catch all of it. No jingle and no slang. Anyways, let me continue. Professor Roger Hussain. You will seem to be churning all the bright ones. So then who is Professor Roger Hussain? Professor, I say. Professor, you know. Hello? Professor Roger Hussain. Who is that? So Professor Roger Hussain, Department of Economics. He's a graduate of the University of West Indies with first-class honors who went on to obtain his PhD in economics from Cambridge University in 2000. He joined the Department of Economics Faculty of Science, University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. Later that year, and currently holds the position of senior lecturer. His research interest focuses on international trade with emphasis on the Dutch disease. I can't pronounce that. I'm not trying. It looks like the whole alphabet. I will spell it for you. And if all I could pronounce it, I'm glad for you. I know it ends in ski. So here how it's spelled. R-Y-B-C-Z-Y-N and then ski. And reverse the same thing. R-Y-B-Z-Y-N ski theory. He has also done work on intra-industry trade, the national trading partner hypothesis, and economic integration. He has written 7 books, either directly or with other researchers, and has published in both regional and international journals. He got away. Qualification, PhD economics from Cambridge University. Research interest, I read all that already. Course taught at UE. Econ 3006, International Trade Theory and Policy. Econ 3007, International Monetary and Financial Theory. Econ 3020, Economic Integration and Regional Trading Bloc. Econ 6011, International Trade New Approaches. And Econ 6030, Research Methodology and Development Economics. So this ain't no run of the mill man. This man know his stuff. I said, right. Then, I remember Roger Hussain. He would have agreed. He was doctor at the time. Dr. Roger Hussain. I know he's a professor. He had agreed in 2018 or around there. He said, let me show you the pity for the think I lie, right? This is the man there. Hear what he said, right? He said, Hussain believes that closing the refinery in 2018 was necessary. He said, I look at the foreign exchange earnings of the refinery, and when I look at the data, it made sense from a foreign exchange perspective to close the refinery because it was net foreign exchange losing, he noted. He said he also looked at the employment structure of the refinery, and it employed a proportion of people way out of sync with the standardized norm. So to him it made sense to lose the refinery at that point in time. That is what Roger Hussain said. Dr. Hussain at the time, eh? So I seen the next thing here now. He talked about the road to recovery, which was more recent. The road to recovery for Trinidad and Tobago. I ain't making up these things, you know. I'm not making up these things. What the damn thing is, boy. Just a minute. Well, give me a minute. Oh gosh. I'm tired. Just now. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, so let me go back over slow. Professor Hussain, we don't want to miss that, you know. You want to hear the minutes. You want to hear the professor say, you know. Them is the big bourgeois. Remember, we talk about Dr. Indira. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I will find it. I will find it, I tell all you. Really? Hey. All of this is therapy this evening. Roger. Professor. My apologies. Right. So the professor said, same professor, he said, it was in the Guardian, I'm just waiting for it to load, 12 days ago. TNT path to recovery in the Guardian, right, will be slow, said Hussain. Professor of Economics at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, go with the thing jumping, campus, Roger Hussain, is predicting a long, hard road ahead and a slow recovery over the next few years as the new United National Congress UNC government takes the reign of the economy. The UNC won the 2025 general election last Monday, taking 26 of the 41 constituency, with the previous ruling party, the People's National Movement, winning 13 seats, and the Tobago People's Party, led by Fali Chavez Augustine, having 2 seats. Right. The previous PNM movement, People's National Movement administration, governed the country for the last 10 years, which saw a decline not only some of the economic indices, but there was also negative impact on the country's social fabric. Against the backdrop of sustained economic contraction and deterioration, micro-fiscal fundamentals, the path to recovery will be slow and bounded by structural rigidities. Hear the word, structural rigidities. The path to recovery will be slow and bounded by structural rigidities. Output levels of remain significantly below pre-2015 benchmark, and potential gross domestic product growth is likely subdued unless bold reforms are pursued, Hussain told Sunday Guardian Business, Sunday Guardian, right. Given the fragile non-energy fiscal portion and external imbalances, he said, any premature fiscal expansion of the current, hear it again, given the fragile non-energy fiscal portions and external imbalances, he said any premature fiscal expansion of the recurring expenditure may worsen debt dynamics and crowd out productive investment. Labor market stock combined with weak capital accumulation would likely to suggest a sluggish multiplier effect from new spending. In this regard, I urge that policymakers, unions, and all stakeholders manage expectation prudently. Recovery is possible, but only through disciplined, coordinated, productivity-enhancing reforms and policy credibility over the medium term. Indeed, at this point, it is better to be roughly right than precisely wrong. I read it no more. Because what he tell me is, don't go and look to, you see, all basically I interpret, you see all them things that the UNC offered and think, no. That 10% starting point negotiation, no. Let us be prudent, ban we belly, and fighting structural rigidity. Yeah? That is 12 days ago. The goodly professor say, listen to the professor now. Just now, let me get it. Let me go to this one. Ooh, I didn't. Just now, huh? Ooh. Look, let me see if I can play it from off my thing here. Let me go back where I was. Ugh. Let me see if I can play it from here. Right? Okay, no. So then I have to go to Google. I have to Google. I have to use the search engine audio. I don't make up these things. Or let's stay with me. I don't make up these things. Let me find it. See, when they're using people's phone, boy, where he Google thing is, boy. Ugh. Let me see if it's this one. No. What's wrong with sign? Excuse me. Right. Sign. Oh gosh, no. What is this? The thing just put ho, yes? I put ho sign, it just stop at ho. Oh, this certain. I ain't using this phone again. Ugh. Let me see if I get it here. Okay. And what am I saying? Yeah. Says yes, I'm usually there. What the damn thing? Oh God, all you. Okay. Let me just read what the man said, right? I thought we could listen to it and all that because I feel I want to listen to it at all. So this is what he said, right? Roger Hossain he's slamming the PNM for the economic crisis that the country is in now. I want to ask Roger Hossain if he did ask the UNC when them was in office how we end up in a recession in 2015. So listen to the central bank governor.
Four consecutive quarters and Tobago is now officially in a recession. The country's external position will come under more pressure. Central government's fiscal deficit will increase from what was budgeted, and public debt would rise as a result of more government borrowing to finance projects. There's a decline in real GDP in 2015 means Trinidad and Tobago is now officially in a recession.
Right? Joala Rambaran, the central bank governor, came in 2015 before the general elections and said the country has been in a recession. I'm not an economist, but I do some research. It says, in economics, a recession is a sustained period of economic decline characterized by a decline in real GDP, employment, and other economic indicators. Essentially, it's a business cycle contraction where there's a widespread drop in spending and economic activities. So this is an elaboration, and it's from the National Bureau of Economic Research, officially defines a recession as a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months, according to the acronym for the National Bureau of Economic Research is NBER. Key indicators, they say real GDP, that is gross domestic product, that is what you sell and people buy locally in the islands, that is a GDP, you get that, the money from that is, right? A decline in real GDP, gross domestic product, is a key indicator of recessions, representing a decrease in the overall output of goods and services in an economy. Employment, recessions are often accompanied by rising unemployment rates as businesses reduce their workforce due to decreased demand. Other indicators, recessions can also be reflected in declines in real income, industrial production, and wholesale and retail sales. Durations, recession can vary in length, but they typically last for several months or even years. Causes, Recession are often triggered by a decline in overall spending, often referred to as a demand shock. Other factors can include financial crises, supply shocks, or changes in government policies. Impact: recessions can have significant economic and social consequences, including job losses, business failures, reduced consumer confidence, and lower stock valuation. I read this to say that when Joala Rambaran came out and said that we're in a recession in 2015, this is what it meant. So it behooves me that Professor Roger Hossain could be asking today or saying today that he blamed the People's National Movement for the economic crisis that he said that we're in. When in 2015, Joala Rambaran came and said we're in a recession, and I now tell you what a recession means. Loss in job, loss in business, loss in this, loss in that. So we had an economic crisis back in 2015 when the People's National Movement came into office. However, with all that he's saying there, oil prices 2010 to 14 was the highest ever in the history of this country. Even under Dr. Ike Williams, it wasn't high. So oil prices over $100 and something a barrel. 2014, 13, 12, 11, 10. But when the People's National Movement came into office, oil prices dropped all $40-something a barrel, $50-something a barrel. But while the US had all that money, PP government, we end up in a recession. How Professor Hossain didn't ask the UNC to account for the crisis that we end up in 2015. But you know what? The People's National Movement was able to kind of steer us through that because nobody who gazetted and lost their job. And bam, COVID-19. Let me tell you what COVID-19 did. The COVID-19 pandemic had significant and widespread economic impacts, causing a sharp contraction in economic activity and widespread job losses. Globally, poverty increased and income inequality widened as disadvantaged population experienced disproportionate income losses. Smaller businesses and informal workers were particularly affected by the pandemic's impact on income. Economic activity. The pandemic led a rapid decline in economic activities, particularly in the early 2020s, as governments implemented measures to control the spread of the virus, such as lockdowns and social distancing. Businesses across various sectors were forced to reduce operations or close, resulting in significant job losses, increased poverty and inequality. Global poverty increased for the first time in a generation, and income inequality within and across countries worsened due to the disproportionate impact on disadvantaged populations. Small and micro enterprises, along with informal businesses, were oh Lord, you see when I have a problem, it just come over and over. Disproportionately affected by the pandemic, with limited access to formal credit and higher income losses. Certain sectors such as accommodation and food services, retail and personal services were particularly hard hit by the pandemic impact on economic activities. So I want to ask Professor Roger Hossain again. 2015 recession, by 2019 COVID-19 pandemic. Do you not think that would have had an impact? And those were the years that the People's National Movement were in office. Do you not think it would have an impact on the economy of any country? And it would have been a challenging to rise above that. But let me tell you how they do it successfully. Not a public officer who was gazetted lost their work. Professor Roger Hossain. When all over the world people were losing their jobs. Yes, in the private sector, people were laid off because they said that businesses would have been affected, so that a lot of people. But the government would have held down this country. We didn't starve. It didn't have nobody going in the hospital for malnutrition. It didn't have children dying of malnutrition. It didn't have the elderly going because they're starving. The country was held down by the People's National Movement under the circumstances of recessions. and COVID-19. And you have the audacity, sir, with all due respect, Professor Hossain, to say that the PNM, you blame them for the economic situation we find ourselves in, only to blast the disingenuous. But let me continue. Woo, sir. You're unfair, Professor Hossain. And it seems to me, I give an opinion, that you're zanzing yourself. Because 1 minute, you talk about that this government, you never say it had nothing to do with PNM. You said this government will have to tighten things and think things and and all the promises that they're offering people that are paying it my way, that they need to calm down and that pat down and that all that. All of a sudden now, you're talking about you want to blame the last government. I want to ask a question. I'm asking a question as a small papi. Is it trying to set up a scenario that when the UNC goes to the World Bank and the IMF to borrow, that people say, is it because of the PNM and how the PNM leave the country? That's what they're trying. Let me tell you something. Or they get away with everybody wins that jingle and code is yellow. Let me tell you, don't try to sell this to nobody. Don't try to sell this to people. Because in my opinion, it looks as though you're trying to make a case. So when the UNC, in my opinion again, say they have to go and borrow money, because all the promises they make, you could jump up, people could say, well, you know, the professor, he really said, is the PNM to blame for the state of the country? Don't try them bullshit. All due respect, don't try them bullshit. We are going there with that. Don't try that. Don't try that. Don't do it. Don't do that. Alright? Don't do that. It's not right. You rather like the PNM. But man up. Only man up and woman up. And give them the blasted respect for how they steer this country during a pandemic. Not an epidemic, which is local, you know. A pandemic where the whole world is shut down. And a recession that was created by Kamla Prasad recession PP government. Because how we got in a recession in 2015 when we had all that oil money? Only to disingenuous. So let me continue. Let me continue. So I'm saying, answer the goodly Minister of Education. It's nice that you all start the laptop and all that, but it did never stop, eh? So don't move as if it's you're dropping manna from heaven because the children were starved of this laptop initiative that was under the PP government. Don't do that. Or they must talk the truth, right? 80,000 laptops for students, teachers, school supervisors, curriculum officers, and school IT labs. That was under the People's National Movement between 2015 to 25. The UNC had given out 18,000 laptops for Form 1 students only. That's what they're proposing. 18,000 laptops for Form 1 students only. When the PNM gave the laptops, they could have never scrapped the laptops. They gave 80,000 laptops for students, teachers, school supervisors, curriculum officers, and school IT labs. So, don't try to sell this as if this is something that you're doing, Honorable Minister of Education. It's some kind of big thing you're doing. No. Alright? Sip your tea, sip it a little warm. Don't sip it too hot. It go burn your lip. So I'm saying that the unions, the trade unions, sorry about that, the trade union movement has joined forces with the Confederation of excuse me there, something just tickled my nose, not my fancy, my nose. Trade unions join forces with business chamber to bid for refinery. Woo! The business chamber. Woo! That was just big enough. The People's National Movement and all the woo! They were all for, in my opinion, when I read in the Oando and that whatever. Woo! how easy tongue does change. Don't play with people and their monies. So this was in the Guardian newspaper 21 hours ago. The trade union movement has joined forces with the Confederation of Regional Business Chambers to seek funding from international financial markets in a bid to restart the Point-a-Pierre refinery. Announcing the collaboration during a press briefing at the Oilfield Workers Trade Union headquarters in San Fernando on Wednesday night, OWTU President Ansel Roger for Life said the discussions were in early stages, but they intend to present a detailed plan to the government ministerial team and then to the nation. Michael Anissa, General Secretary of the National Trade Union Center and President, they say, of Waterfront whatever union, along with Christopher Street, President General of the National Union. Now I tell you, all of them is the same, you know. I thought that, this is my opinion, that the new President General Nuge would have been different, but all of them is the same, just in my opinion, same old boys club. Roger said their discussions with the Confederation focus on working together to revitalize the energy sector. He said their priority is refurbishing and restarting operations at the refinery. I want to only listen to this name. Jai Lidadar Singh, CRBC. Let me tell you what the CRBC is again. Confederation of Regional Business Chamber. Jai Lidadar Singh, coordinator, recalled that 9 years ago the country faced a very dark economic compounded by COVID-19 pandemic. The first thing we are looking at is the restarting of the Point-a-Pierre refinery, or what was formerly the Petrotrin refinery. We need to kickstart the economy, and we need to do things to a certain level of competitiveness and to return Trinidad and Tobago as the energy hub of the Caribbean, the center of energy and competitiveness. I'm not reading any more of this. Right? You all remember Mr. Lidadar Singh? You all remember him?
Position will come under more pressure. Central government's fiscal deficit will increase from what was.
Sorry about that. So let me see if I can go directly on this page and get it. For all who don't remember, Mr. Lidadar Singh would have said a lot of racist things in a conversation with somebody, and Mr. Pandey, God rest his soul, had to jump in to tell him, you know, don't say that. So this is one of the things he would have said, this Jai Shima Lidadar Singh, if you say. Each member should target at least 5 individuals and inbox them in persuasion of getting to City Hall in a protest to answer my pick. It would be the N-word. They're pushy enough and gullible. It will not take much to sway them. It will also enhance the look at the PPG having African members protesting. I do not need to ask Alan how you persuade the impeccable Kazim Hussain. Huh? Yes, no? He is the head of that chamber. That they would be, the unions are joining with a man who was very racist to people of African descent. And the same Negroes going to stand there. Just now, let me see if I could get it. Let me see if I could get more of his work. April 12, 2014, I mean. This was a conversation between somebody called Mr. Anthony S. McLeod and Jai Shima Lidadar Singh. That is what it have, eh? I don't know who these people are. And the picture looked like the same Lidadar Singh, and it looked like the same man who is the head of the Confederation Chamber, whatever. Here. Anthony S. McLeod, you should also be gone forever. We all have to believe how big people can be so stupid. Okay, no. So, Anthony S. McLeod is the person who addressed what I read this from read it over. So, Anthony B. McLeod apparently say, you should also be gone forever. We all have to believe how big people can be so stupid. Jai Shima Lola Darusing, that didn't even say, go F yourself, McLeod. You bastard will understand because you bastard will not understand because you never had to fight or work for anything. I give my opinion and I don't care what the F parasite think. You F in parasite think. And Anthony say, haha, you real funny. Jai Shima say, and you is a stinking N. And Anthony say, you can say what you want, you still have to dead. And I think they were talking something about when somebody died, something. And Lord Darusing say, and you all will die as low class N. And Anthony say, you don't know me nor my status, and you are so confident about your statement. From what I can see, is you that have no class. Jai Shima say, F you both. Jai Shima come back again, he said, and you are even stinking low class N. And then Mr. Pandey, rest his soul, say, my dear Jai Shima, please do not do anything to exacerbate the racial problem which has been the blame of this society for centuries. Speak your mind without being offensive, please. That is who. We never got an apology, in my opinion. We never got one. That is who the union movement, they are meeting with the Oakmark refinery. I just want to say something quick. Where they're going to get the monies, right? They're going to raise the monies. They say so, right? That to raise the money, that to make sure that refinery is worthy of the standard, modernize it and all that and whatever. If them say they could do it, I wait with bated breath. But this is what we know of OWTU. I didn't see they send a pre-action protocol letter for Minister Energy. At the time, Minister Siotong listened to this.
Things arrive in your mailbox. Lo and behold, the question was asked, did they pass the financials? I was told by the evaluation committee, the first time, no, they could not produce the financial wherewithal on this occasion as part of their EY process. And the evaluation committee did something, credit to them, that they didn't do for others. They told Patriotic, take some time and go and see if you could get the financials, because what you've produced as the initial pass can't work. And they gave them more time and they gave them a second opportunity. Lo and behold, as part of that second opportunity, is a document that I have in my hand here today that appears to be a swift message of a cash wire transfer of $1.5 billion on behalf of Patriotic Limited, Patriotic Energies and Technology Company Limited, receiving $1.5 billion at a local bank in Trinidad. So, of course, we asked the evaluation committee. Thank you. So we asked the evaluation committee, well, if they had this, what happened? Fraudulent document. A fake document.
No display.
A fake document.
The document.
Sorry. A fake document was produced as part of that EOI process. Forged document, because when the due diligence was done, of course, no $1.5 billion was received by Patriotic at any local bank. So unfortunately, and yes, it is stamped by some unknown person, certified true. But of course, it's easy to verify this, because it is either that it exists or it doesn't exist.
Right? That was when Patriotic OWTU was bidding for the refinery. It is said here they produce false documentation saying they get how much billion US dollars from some credit something abroad. It was a lie. So we hope this time is not like that. I'm also seeing Felicia Thomas. Well, you know what? They work hard. They work and they convince whoever to vote UNC, because UNC will start the negotiation from 10%. A lot of public officers in here start the negotiation from 10%. They just say 10%, they go get 10%, right? We ain't hear nothing about no 10%. We ain't hear nothing more negotiations starting. We hear nothing. I always tell all of Felicia Thomas and them only interested in WASA. Them don't care nothing about the public service. I could say that because that is what I'm seeing, and it leads me to a conclusion. They do not care about the public service. They only care about WASA workers. Nothing wrong with that because they come from WASA. I don't have a problem with that. But you are the president of the Public Services Association, not the president of WASA Services Association. But their focus has always been just WASA, so they feel they get what they want now, and they're happy. So, this is Felicia Thomas on the stage with Kamala Persad because they went on stage. That was a little popcorn. This thing look as a performance. Everybody, they pack up the place so just so. Let me read the thing and then play the thing.
Today I have with me the executive of the PSA, former PG, Mr. Batiste is our minister, and of course Felicia and Ting. They stood with us, and I want to congratulate them. I said earlier before we came in, to congratulate the PSA for standing their ground. They never gave in, they never gave up. And today, my government is very proud to have worked with you, and today I give you this. I told you I'll put it in the dustbin. Today I give you this. You will scrap it. We have a thing with it. And you told me when we talked, you said throw it in the dustbin. So I don't have a dustbin. So come forward. So I'll give you. Come forward. You worked really hard. You stood your ground, and we are very proud of you. Yes, are you the production manager? What I want to say to you is what I said in your absence, but I congratulated you all for standing your ground, and this is where we are today, and I ask of you. I told them earlier, I said one hand doesn't clap, but one hand can slap. And therefore, I'm asking you all in WASA, let us work together to deliver on the mandate of WASA, which is to water for all. So if we work together, we can achieve this. So you can put this in your dustbin. Thank you very much. Thank you. You stood your ground, so thank you all very much. Would you like to say anything? Any of you? Yes, feel free. You can come up here.
Thank you, Madam Prime Minister. On behalf of not just the WASA workers, but you would have also repealed the TTRA Act. So on behalf of the workers of the Board of Inland Revenue, Customs and Excise Division, on behalf of the workers of the Water and Sewage Authority, we thank this government for once more making the jobs of public officers secure. We thank you, and for the upcoming period, we can rest, we can be happy, we can plan our lives as workers in this country, and we look forward to working with this government to improve the water supply to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Now let me tell you something. That girl got up there. She thanked the government because they're scrapping the whole restructuring of WASA, and they scrapped the TTRA, and that is all she focused on. And workers could plan however. You ain't use that opportunity to say, and Madam President, we hope to start the negotiations that you would have told us about, the starting point 10% very quickly for the public officers who are, you ain't talking nothing about public officers, only WASA and TTRA. So public officers, when I tell all you, they don't care about we. They don't care about what happened at all. They don't care about all this because all they never come out in the right way to tell these people to do the right thing. So now, them get what they wanted. WASA, no restructuring on WASA, and TTRA, right? I want to say something too. I saw Mr. Barry, Minister of Public Utilities, Mr. Barry Pardat, because I thought he was Prime Minister too, because he was all over the place, very busy, very, very busy. Oh, and the suits and the hair and the, oh, hello. Hello. Don't go there. So I saw him and he was speaking about WASA and paraphrasing, basically saying that the former government with the Minister of Public Utilities, Marvin Gonzalez, basically lied about WASA being top heavy and they want to send on people. Everything that he said, about WASA, the PNM lie, the minister lie and everything. And lo and behold, today, Member of Parliament Marvin Gonzalez had a press conference and he rubbished everything Barry Pardat said. I am waiting to hear Barry Pardat say the Member of Parliament lie. He rubbished everything. And you know what make it worse? When the report on WASA and how it top heavy and the corruption and all kind of things to restructure came to the Parliament, a committee was set up. And you know what's on that committee? Barry Pardat, Baharadat, and another UNC person that was there, and they agreed with the PNM government and the report that WASA must be restructured, it top heavy, people had to go home. He agreed. That man today as a minister of public utilities saying that was a lie. And let me tell you something, Ola again asking Ola, why are you hurting? I'm hurting because when I see things like that. And when I see Felicia Thomas get up on a stage and she ain't bring forward the issue of public officers, all she was focused on is WASA and TTRA. So what about the rest of the public service? Not a word on the start and negotiation for the 10%, nothing, because them get what they want. Stop restructuring our WASA, everything back to normal. I want you all to listen to that press release today by Member of Parliament Marvin Gonzalez. I'm going to get it and put it on my page so you all could go and listen. Take time and listen to it. Let me tell you something, we in for some kind of times, But again, all it went on. If wrong, now all it will find out. Because we told you all, and all you did not listen. Who didn't like Dr. Rowley and how he put Stuart Young and he bullied this one and the thing, and we didn't get to talk, and they tell this one don't vote for PNL because he now come and he thing and don't vote for that one and they vote in. I go teach PNL a lesson and I don't vote. We're voting let's do and we here today. Everything getting dismantled. And we're in a situation with the country, we ain't have money. Not like 2020, not like 2010, 15 when they had money awash. So all kind of bacchanal was happening. This time it ain't had that kind of money. Oil prices ain't going back to that price at all. Oil prices are 40 something, 50 something, 60 something dollars. Way below. And then we have a problem with gas. So, let me just tell you something. So I see, well, they say nothing much because they know anytime they start to jump out themselves and insert themselves in that story, they go out to mention MP Stuart Young, who is a member of Parliament for the North St. Anne's West and was the Minister of Energy and Energy Industries or something, and also the Prime Minister. They'll have to mention his name. They don't want to do that, so they keep him quiet. So I see this drilling company, they, oh gosh, only give me a minute, the amount of thing, right. Perenco has made a major natural gas discovery in the Onyx field of Trinidad's southeast coast. The company successfully drilled 2 separate wells, striking significant gas reserves in 2 distinct geological compartments. Located between the Puyi and Teak field, this underdeveloped site could unlock a new chapter in Trinidad and Tobago's energy future. Perenco General Manager Gregory de Corseles said our goal was to prove enough gas to unlock the field. We have done it. The breakthrough, supported by joint ventures partners Heritage Petroleum and National Gas Company of Trinidad and Tobago, sets the stage for a final investment decision on developing the field. That has nothing to do with UNC. So they can't take that as something, but I want to tell what it is. Developing a gas field from initial lease acquisition to first gas production can take anywhere from 5 to 10 years, especially in new or complex areas. This timeline includes stages like drilling, facility installation, and development drilling. In areas with existing infrastructure, the process might be expedited, potentially shortening the timeline to 7 to 10 years. Exploratory drilling. The initial stage includes drilling and completing a well. Completing a well can take 6 to 10 months. Construction, the necessary infrastructure such as processing plant, pipeline can take 1 more year. Drilling, further drilling to access the gas reservoir can add 1 to 2 years. Achieving first gas production depends on the complexity of the project and can take 5 to 10 years after the final investment decision, according to a Trinidad and Tobago newspaper. So while we're happy that Perenco would have found the gas, whatever, that is not like Dragon gas field where we could just take the pipe, attach it, and gas start to flow. That they could take 5 to 10 years, right? Okay. So don't let them fool all. We find out why they ain't saying nothing, in my opinion, because they can't say nothing. Because it is what it is. So, Trinidad and Tobago, the Prime Minister has announced, excuse me, that she's going to resume, her government is going to resume hangings. Let me think that to you. She's going to resume hangings. The last time we had hangings in this country, 9 people get hung in 3 days. I was younger, I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't really, whatever. But when I think of it now, that may have been very horrific for the country, because at the end of the day, you're talking about hanging, and when you hear how they hang, no, I'm not going into the crimes the people do. They do the crime, they think, right? So don't get all up in all your jiffies to operate as though I say I for again. So listen to Kamala Pasabi Sasa. I hope it plays.
I instructed the Minister of Homeland Security, the AG, Minister of Justice, to provide an update on the possibility of resuming hangings. The number of inmates, I'm told, on death row as of Saturday, May 10th, 2025 is 38. 38. Of these 38 inmates, only 18 are eligible to be hanged if we accept that these 18 have been sentenced to death and are yet under the 5-year timeline established by Pratt & Morgan by the Privy Council. So that is only these 18 condemned inmates under the 5-year timeline. The other 20 are over the 5-year timeline, true, though they have appeals pending. In terms of how many condemned inmates can face the death penalty or have the death penalty be carried out at this time, that is to say, whom among the 18 can have a death warrant legally read out to be executed? Unfortunately or fortunately for some, the answer is none. Is none, given the state of the law. Of these 18 condemned inmates, 1 has an appeal pending before the Privy Council. The other 17 have appeals pending before the local appellate court, chamber of the Supreme Court. It can be said, therefore, that until these appeals are heard, the death penalty cannot be lawfully carried out at this time, even amongst the 18. So the answer again is how many at this time? The answer is, as I said, fortunately or unfortunately, none. The minister...
Alright? They're going to resume hanging, but it ain't nobody there to hang, because everybody, the threshold, the 5 years would have passed, and she spoke about Pratt and Morgan, and let me just read quickly what that is about. Kevin Cato, you will remain unasked. May I have time to deal with asses, this wrongs. You will remain unasked. Well, let's just stop because you have a hole below all your nose. So Earl Pratt and Ivan Morgan both spent 14 years on death row awaiting execution in Jamaica. In recognition of the extreme mental anguish death row prisoners are subject to, their case established a legal precedent limiting the amount of time a person can be kept under sentence of death. Hundreds of people across the Caribbean have been saved from execution as a result. So Earl and Ivan's story. Earl Pratt and Ivan Morgan were arrested on suspicion of murder in 1977. At their trial, the prosecution relied on the evidence of a single eyewitness, and the jury only took 2 minutes to convict. The pair was sentenced to the death penalty, which was mandatory at the time. Earl and Ivan were kept in virtual isolation, confined to separate cells measuring 6 feet by 6 feet cells for 23 hours a day. There was no furniture. A sheet of foam acted as bedding, and the toilet consisted of a bucket emptied once a day. During their 14 years on death row, Earl and Ivan were handed their death warrants on 3 occasions, only to be granted a reprieve at the last minute. One time a reprieve was granted 45 minutes prior to the scheduled execution. The pair were subjected to the mental trauma of being weighed and measured for coffins in preparation for the execution. Earl has described the experience of listening to the hangman make practice drops in preparation for his execution. The Death Penalty Project assisted the pair's legal team in appealing the death sentences to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London. Given the severe mental torture inflicted on the men during their prolonged period on death row, known as death row syndrome or death row phenomenon, we argue that their death sentences could no longer be deemed constitutional. In its judgment delivered in November 1993, the Privy Council ruled that a period of more than 5 years delay in carrying out a death sentence constituted cruel and inhumane punishment and therefore violated Jamaica's constitution. In reaching its conclusion, the court referenced the historical context of the death penalty sentencing system inherited from the UK, where execution would be carried out speedily after sentence. The court accepted the death row syndrome was therefore a modern phenomenon which subjected a prisoner to an unintended extra element of punishment. Earl and Ivan have been sentenced to death, not death plus years of mental torture or Earl and Ivan had been sentenced to death, not death plus years of mental torture on death row. As a result of the judgment, Earl and Ivan were removed from death row and their sentences were commuted to life imprisonment. While Earl was released in 2007 after he became eligible for parole, Ivan never saw his freedom as he tragically died in prison of natural causes 3 years after the judgment. So when you hear them speak about Pratt and Morgan, is these two men they're speaking about. So it's spelled P-R-A-T-T and Morgan M-O-R-G-A-N. So when prisoners are on death row over 5 years or what, they usually tend to, the lawyers usually refer to the Pratt and Morgan case. And that is what Kamala Persad-Bissessar, the Prime Minister, is speaking about. She has admitted that there's nobody on death row. Well, there's nobody to be hanged in this country at this time, although that they are on death row because of the amount of years that they have been on death row. So I saw somebody wrote something here. It says in Trinidad and Tobago, a landmark legal decision, particularly the Pratt and Morgan ruling, establishes that a death sentence cannot be carried out after more than 5 years from the time of sentencing. This time frame is considered a point beyond which the delay in execution becomes cruel and inhuman, as ruled by the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. And they have an explanation, and that is what I would have read before. Once all legal avenues are appealed, of appeal are exhausted, and within the 5-year period, the death sentence can be carried out according to the Privy Council. So, again, once all legal avenues of appeal are exhausted, and within the 5-year period, a death sentence can be carried out according to the Privy Council, and the ruling has significantly impacted the implementation of the death penalty in Trinidad and Tobago, leading to delays and challenges in carrying out executions. The issue of death penalty and its implementation remains a subject of ongoing debate and legal challenges, as reported in Trinidad Guardian. I also saw this because, again, in haste to treat with the crime situation in this country, let us be careful we take everything into consideration. So this was 2012, Hanging Our Heads in Shame in the Guardian by Denzel Mohammed, and it said, did the Honorable Minister of Works, Jack Warner, take a look at the crime statistic before he began his hang them high, the thing just jumped, hang them high campaign? From the very nice TNT Police Service website, we learned that there are over 6,500 police officers in TNT. There were 343 murders last year, although the media reported 354. One of those 342 or 354 murders, our 6,500 strong police force detected 56 of them. And Mr. Warner has the gall to talk about resuming hangings. Once again, TNT annual ritual of moves to resume hanging dominates the headline. This time, it's a petition for senators and MPs to sign. It's like a parliamentary referendum, perhaps, except it's not. It is probably it is as legitimate as the basis of the petition itself. Resuming execution will reduce the incident of crime, and that is as stupid as it gets. There are few issues as political and nonsensical in TNT as that of executions. Every year somebody, a minister, AG, the PM, some community leader, gets in front of the camera on a mission to resume hangings, and given that we are still a society in the dark ages that like a steady dose of gore and violence, it gets supported, blind support. But it insults our intelligence to no end. Any Form 3 student can write an essay detailing how executions are not a deterrent to crime. Forget reasons of human rights and basic compassion. The facts are here for everyone to see. Executions have never been categorically related to crime reduction, and when we do execute, it is something illegal. Talk about police trend. Back in 1999, 9 were hanged in 3 days, and the result was just 3 days of nationwide shame, certainly no reduction in crime. It was around that time that the crime rate in TNT spiraled. Not to mention, doubt lingers as to the guilt of at least one of these executed gang members. In 1994, Glenn Ashby was hanged 10 minutes before his attorneys received a copy of the Privy Council's stay of execution, and 6 days before completing 5 years under sentence of death, which would have made him eligible to have his sentence commuted. It insults our intelligence further that Mr. Warner and others before him would bring up hangings in such a big way when even bigger failures loom before him. Our police to population ratios are very high, Commissioner of Police Dwayne Gibson said 1 year ago. The actual strength of the police service was more than the authorized strength. No one wonders what strength he's talking about. Only 56 murders detected out of around 350 by 650 police officers. Clearly, TNT has one of the largest and weakest police services in the world, and we are world renowned for it too. I met a director from George Mason University in Washington, D.C. last week. When I mentioned where I'm from, he was quick to say, yes, I know Trinidad and Tobago. When they start using your country as a drug shipment point and the crime just skyrocketed, we send a research team down there. I hear the crime hasn't abated at all. 3,500 plus murdered, with a claim to fame, but why not? To reiterate some of the facts presented in the column before the unfortunate state of emergency was declared. That was back in 2012. And more than 3,500 citizens have been murdered in the past decade. At the peak of 2008, the police service reported 529 murders, 544 according to the media. Only 1 in 9 murders was solved. 2010, there were 472 murders with a detection rate of 14%. More black men die by homicide than by traffic accident, AIDS and suicide combined. 2010 TNT murder rate ranked 7th worldwide, 37 per 1,000 people. That's higher than Iraq, Libya, Mexico, and Rwanda. We stand right behind Colombia. TNT has the second highest crime rate in the region after Jamaica. And these are the facts we are dealing with, a tiny nation with a mammoth problem. But politicizing this issue every year, we're talking about getting the criminals through gallows faster and faster, like the assembly line of cracknecks, trying desperately to score political points while toying with life and law is truly pathetic and unquestionably shameful. Trying to fix a problem by dealing with its result rather than its source is not the kind of approach we would expect or should expect from our learned government official. Worse yet, insulting our intelligence with their platform antics reduces us to a level of which I thought we had long left. The police service has failed. Every national security minister has failed. Every police commissioner has failed. Social services have failed. Community leaders have failed. These are the things that need to be fixed in order to reduce crime. I would humbly suggest to the Honorable Minister that he and the rest of the cabinet resume not hangings, but an interest in getting these other things fixed. Again, this was written in 2012 by one Denzel Muhammad. The more things change, the more things remain. More things remain the same. And quickly, hi Pammy, I just want to read this for you all. Cato and them don't understand. When you hear government, when anybody speaks about rigidity and speaks about austerity, there's only one place that is going. So just touching quickly on the SRC, remember the bacchanal with them and the money, obtain whatever. Listen to this. December 11, 2013. Who was in office? This was Trinidad Express. Who was in office? The PP government. It is so ridiculous, absolutely disrespectful. Members of Parliament expressed anger yesterday over the recommendation of the Salary Reviews Commission on their compensation package. The consensus was there was a clear lack of appreciation by the membership of the SRC of the role of members of Parliament and the significant jobs they do. Excuse me. They, the SRC, give us a $3,000 increase monthly before tax, and the judges $20,000 more, which is tax-free, one source argued. The SRC treated members of the judiciary favorably, with salaries way over those recommended for members of the legislature. Sources also cited that recommended salaries for chairman of PSC, $24,620, chairman of the Integrity Commission, $28,720, chairman of the Registration, Recognition and Certification Board, $21,260, chairman of the Election and Boundaries Commission, $21,570, and chairman of the Equal Opportunity Commission, $21,570, pointed out that they had neither the responsibility, workload, or no accountability as of an MP. The SRC recommended for MPs without portfolio a salary of $17,400 before tax and a transport allowance of $6,600 before tax, and senators without portfolio a salary of $13,000 a month and a transport allowance of $4,500 before tax. Adding insult to injury for the MPs is the recommendation of the SRC to cut the allowance given to MPs with respect to the purchase of cars. For more than 20 years, members of Parliament have received full exemption from custom duties, VAT, and motor vehicles tax when they buy a vehicle. One source described the altering of this entitlement as unconstitutional. There are all kinds of judgments against employers to try to cut workers' pay, and every time these things have gone to court, the ruling is the same. You cannot reduce an employee's package or his or to his or her disadvantage without their agreement, the source said. Asked whether this unconstitutional, Attorney General Annan Ramlogan asked whether this was unconstitutional. Attorney General Annan Ramlogan said he was aware of the legal argument but declined any further comment. He said he was aware that everybody was upset about the recommendation to remove the car allowance. We have not had a pay increase since 2005, and after 8 years you come and give us $3,000 before tax, and you want us to work 24/7, scrutinize billions of dollars expenditure, be available on call, be pillars of integrity and morality, and have the parliament meet at 8 a.m. in the morning, have no other job, and after 8 years, $3,000 before tax, while judges getting $20,000 tax-free, and to crown it off, our reward after 8 years is to cut in benefit vis-a-vis the car allowance. This all said. Lavington East Movan MP Donna Cox told the Express that SSC report told her how little value the commission placed on MPs. They don't fully understand the role or the function of the Member of Parliament, stated Donna Cox. Cox said the SRC had not taken into consideration the fact that members of Parliament work full-time. You know where I am now in my constituency talking to people organizing the Trend Christmas party. It is a part-time. If something happens, anyone in my constituency, I can tell them I can only work 8 to 4, or that I don't work on Saturdays or Sundays. You have to try and help people regardless of the time of day or night. And she went on. Government leader Dr. Rudal Munilal said he was aware of the disquiet and discontent of members of Parliament and is aware of the content of the SRC. But this matter is before Cabinet right now, so I cannot divulge information or prejudice deliberation in the Cabinet. Munilal said Cabinet will be in a position to move forward on the report in 1 or 2 weeks' time. Sources also pointed to the salaries of chairman of commission, and the point I'm making with this, right? Here the point I'm making. The Salary Review Commission 2013 came to Kamala Prasad Bissesta and the PP government with an increase in salaries, because they haven't had a increase in salaries since 2007 or 8 anyway that. And when they came with the increase in salaries, here were all of them, say, including Kamala and she peoples, all of them. It is so ridiculous, absolutely disrespectful. Members of Parliament expressed anger yesterday over the recommendation of the Salary Reviews Commission, SRC, on the compensation package. When the SRC came with the packages in 2013, they said that money too small. All of them said that money too small. $3,000 want to give we, and then on top of that, you're taking away we car allowance thing and cutting the VAT and da. They didn't want it. They didn't want it. Both sides didn't want it. They didn't want it. And they came after 2013 when they were still go back and bring something better for we, you know. We want that, you know. They came back in 2024. And all the vexed because Dr. Rowley accepted. Oh, all the wicked so. Why Kamala didn't accept it in 2013 when the SRC came with what they think was the best pay package for the members of Parliament and thing. They didn't want it. They said, "I small money. We don't want that small money. All the matter what? And all the while we work 24/7. All in value we are. You see the kind of work we working our. All they giving all kind of people, all kind of things. So all they say they're more important than we. That is what they told the reporter. And the SRC went in Parliament and none of them agreed to take it. And the SRC went back and came back after 2013 in 2024. And it happened that Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley was the Prime Minister at the time and he took it. And all of them getting it. All of them getting it. But now, all they could tell me, about these peoples, you think them giving up that? All they talk, they lying about, oh, it wasn't laying in Parliament, they can't be reversed and all that. It's a big lie. It could be reversed because Kamala Prasad Bissesta, when Mr. Manon was Prime Minister, complained about the money they have, and Mr. Manon reversed it, and they went back to normal salary. All they take chain up. So I'm saying again, Minister Young had to come out a day ago to just alert, because he's a patriot of this country and he understands the importance of these things. He has been in the energy sector, and I told Ole he made the energy sector so exciting. I never used to take interest in the energy sector. But when he took over, listen, I was all up in it, people was all up in it. We started to understand what is drilling, what is this, what is this, and the contracts. And we start to be excited to listen to what is happening. He made it exciting. He is one of the best negotiators that have in the world. Negotiators all over the world had a big seminar, whatever. He, MP Stuart Young, SC, he was the keynote speaker in front of negotiators from all over the world. That is how much he is respected in the world. Not Trinidad and Tobago and just in the Caribbean, internationally. I'm saying it again. Member of Parliament, participant North St. Anne's West, who was recently Prime Minister of this country, who was recently the Minister of Energy, is respected as a negotiator and litigator all over the world. So when he saw the UNC make a faux pas, he was very concerned because he know what it means for this country. Not for he to look good, but what it means to all the citizens of this country. Them who didn't vote for he, them who ain't like he, them who vote for UNC, them who ain't vote at all, them who don't like voting, them who never, for all the citizens. So this is what he said. So earlier today I posted a caution about exclusion of the Trinidad Petroleum Holdings Limited, Heritage Petroleum Company Limited, and Paria Fuel Limited from ministerial assignments. I cautioned that this error needed to be addressed, as I did not want any negative issues to arise which could affect Trinidad and Tobago. Here is the UNC government's response. Kirk Mayhew messaging quietly behind the scene to sell an excuse. No transparency, no accountability. So he said his earlier post was careful to caution and say fix it, and to post what was circulated a day or two ago by the government. So fix it. To say that this was done previously is no moment. The point is to ensure an error is corrected. And I think what would have happened, they would have gazetted ministries and from the energy ministry, and they did not gazette Heritage, Paria, and the other one. So it looked as if they never existed. And that would have created a situation that would have ended up in a court case. So this is what Kurt Mayhew, after Minister Young, would have alerted this government that, listen, you did not gazette Heritage and Paria. Those are legal entities. And if you don't do that, it means that they do not exist. And that could create a lot of legal problems for this country, and by extension, a lot of other fallout issues with it. This is Kurt Mayhew saying. Stuart Young put out a statement this morning saying under him, Paria and Heritage were gazetted. Here is Stuart Young gazetted as PM and Energy Minister. Nowhere is Heritage or Paria. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same listing as in the current gazette. And again, as Minister would have said, is the continuation of the, I think Prime Minister Dr. Rowley said in the earlies, the jackass in the scene continues with them. If you point out, they make an error or something, they just jackass the scene instead of trying to treat with it. So that is when Cato put up, give the UNC a chance to go fix this country. That is why I say, you have to be an ass. You have to be an ass. Because you're hearing all over, they start to talk about structural or fiscal rigidity. And you're hearing about they will have to find the money. You're hearing about they're going to borrow the money. And unfortunately, because I switch phones, I can't read it. It's something I saw on a chat. But we're hearing about, once we talk about rigidity and all them kind of thing, where we get any money, you ain't hear Felicia talk nothing about the 10% starting point of negotiation. They're just happy that Wassa will stay as it is. Roja and them happy. Them go get the refinery to run. They ain't saying where they go get money to buy crude oil every day to run the refinery because we don't have that kind of crude here and it had to be bought in US. You hear about Jagdio talking about Trinidadian business and thing buying up the US. You hear Kamala saying she's going to bust the mark on the foreign exchange cartel. You know who they busting on. And it goes on and on. We hearing who they firing, who they sending home. We hear people challenging, rescinding the contract and them kind of thing. We see and we know this government is incompetent. Just look at what happened with the Minister of Finance. He say people go get back the money who pay the property tax. Prime Minister come and say, he alone talking that me never say so. They want to appease people. They will look to El Salvador to help with crime problem. Kamala said she will bring back hanging, but turn and say that nobody did to hang right now. And it goes on and on. Like she forget, two of she lawyers went to the Privy Council and get the law overturned that where murderers couldn't get bail, they could get bail now. So when you look in the context of these things they do and say and all the bills they fight and all that, you want to tell me you seriously believe them could do something for this country? You really believe that they could do something for this country? I have no confidence in them, not because I don't like them, but because they have a track record. And just like the economists and them just look at track records and the economy and this one, and sociologists just look at track record to deal with the mental health, and doctors just look at a track record in terms of your medical history, and geologists just look at the track record of the sand and the stone and the this, so they could be able to tell you what kind of soil with and earthquake and this and that. And just how all professionals just look at track record and the field that they're in, I too look at the track record of the UNC. And the UNC don't even have half the people it had that give them some credibility from back in 10. They don't have them now. There's a set of newbies who have a lot of questions and talking and doing and what kind of tripping. There's no Tim Gopi Singh, there's no Ganga Singh, there's no Winston Dukaran, there's no Carolyn Sipasad Bechan, there's no some other names I can't remember right now. None of them there. None of them there. And even with them once they 2010-15, the PP basically fall apart. So imagine all them not even there. Look at who they have. Ratiram, Tanku, Mohit, Benjamin, Khadija. But I would say, as they told us, when UNC win, everybody win and only fall for that jingle. And we asking now who it is really win. And the code is, all was saying code is yellow. We are seeing them again to say nothing. So I don't know. But again I say, all they went on FA, now all they going to FO. Get your popcorn, get things ready. Let me see if I can check all who here. I have to hold my thing different. So, Kim, Laurel, Joel, Davison, Finbar, Debbie, Allison, Ernie, Elizabeth, Glennis, Judy, Bernadette, or Bernadine, Pearl, Clive, Ruthven, Dwight. I'm looking at that picture, Dwight. You can go and check and see if it's the coach. I'm looking at it good, right? Right. Judy, Glenda, Jackie, Brian, Casey, Dandy, Tessa, Elsa, Diamond, Gare, Russ, Roxanne, Christine, Kathleen, Gart, Augusto, Sadie, Anne-Marie, Angela, Caprice, Jonathan, Maynard, Judy, Merle. It's not Jonathan Maynard, eh? Maynard has his own name, or his own name is Maynard Nazar. Judy, Merle, Louise, Estra, Herbert, Jennifer, Brian, Anne-Marie, Cheryl, Esther, Lenore, Joanne, Balti, Angela, Shannon, Williams, Sandy, Joy, Camille, Valerie, Glenda, Ophelia, Hazel, Mr. Frank, Joyce Lynn, Helen Russell House from Pleasantville, Hadara, Marie, Anastasia, Jackie, Anton, Charles from Apuna, my whole family, Emmeline, Kevin, Kato, Sue, and Margaret. I want to tell you all, thank you all for staying truly locked in. The fact, oh Lord, hear me, facts or something, let me talk the thing. I had to change my devices I don't know what going wrong with my tablet, and I had to use my husband's phone. He phone in the most high-tech at all, so it's drama. Anywho, I was thankful I had it to use, so I'll be able to use that as my research and use my normal phone to do my live, and that brought its own challenges. I want to thank you all for staying locked on, tuning to Love It Ugly Thing. People, we are in for some interesting times. Facts are stubborn things, as Dominic does say. Do not let them just say things that are not true. Call them out on it. They wouldn't want us not to do that because they were very vocal in calling out whatever they think the PNM was not doing right. So we too, is about fairness. We too must call them out and say, hey, no. That is not what was said. No. Oops, no. This is what you said. No. Don't try to change it. So the Minister of Finance said, it's only logical that you all get back all your money from property tax. He said it. He wholesale said he's the Minister of Finance. So if he can make a faux pas like that, because he boss Telly in front of everybody and embarrass him to Tanko, you tell them now because you tell them now where you get any money from. I think that is very disrespectful. That is like if you're running a party group meeting or something. That is not the conduct of a government. Then we see Mr. Paradat all over the place. Very embarrassing again. Looking fly, but very embarrassing his behavior. The whole world is watching that, not just Trinidad and Tobago. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. But we have to have faith in it. However, we have to be conscious of the fact we have been down this road before, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. But apparently you all get caught up with the jingle and the chord and all the feelings, and we are here today. All I could tell all you, deal with it. Me go have my popcorns and a little drink, and I will watch what's happening and hope for the best. That's the most I can do. People, see you all on Monday. God's Spear when I come with something fresh, something new. This eagle, Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. If you want to get phone message of a federal can reach on Levy Talk the Thing. People, be safe this weekend. Look out for the children. Big up to the police service again to find back that child. I like that coordinated effort. It's so real professional. Love it. That child is back in his mom's arms. She's very relieved, I'm sure. Big up to the police service. Big up to all the public officers who have been staying in this country, running it while the UNC was trying to make up their mind what the hell they're doing. Big up to public officers. Public officers, keep all the eye on Felicia Thomas. She has not advanced public officers' situation at all in she big speech. It was just about WASA and TTRA. So, it's up to all you. And I'm very disappointed in Comrade Street or Skeet. I think it is from NGFW. I thought he was going to be different, but again, who am I? And I know he don't care whether I'm disappointed in him or not, because whatever, who the hell is me? But that's my opinion. I'm very disappointed that he go align himself like that and have not dealt yet with the issue of the daily rated officers who still going on today without a pension, who have retired without a pension and have to wait till they're 65 years old to get a old age pen. Well, they don't like the word old age, but it is senior citizen pension, which is so embarrassing. But he's all up there with them and the refinery and whatever. So we would see. People, I go and love you all. Bye.